Well, it's been about 3 days now since we got home. Haven't really got a heck of a lot done. I did go up and drag out this little trailer here. This was one of my first welding projects that I kind of taught myself on. That was a 24-foot camp trailer we bought down in Idaho after the railroad I was working for started shutting down. I sold my house, paid off all my bills, and bought that camp trailer, and we lived in it for a long time, but the roof was bad on it. We tore it all down and made a flatbed out of it. And I used that for quite a while to haul logs and stuff with. I could actually load the excavator up on it and haul it. Anyway, it was a handy little trailer. I took all of the flimsy sheet metal that they had in there for spreaders between the channel iron on the rails on that and put some heavy duty stuff in there, and then took some thick timbers, planks, and put down on it. And like I said, it made a pretty good trailer. But I've got the dump trailer and I've got this new trailer that we just bought. So thinking about putting that up to sale. We haven't really used it for a long time. The neighbor had it for quite a while, hauling lumber in. We hauled a bunch of logs down for him for his house that he had milled up, and he had lumber and stuff, and was using it for a while. And I got it back, so I've just been shuffling it around here now for a couple, 3 years now, just kind of in the way. So I thought I'd get it out and go ahead and put it up for sale. I figured maybe I could get 500 bucks or so out of it or something like that. But after shopping for trailers down south and buying that one we did and seeing what trailers are going for, I think I can probably at least double that. Somebody can use it for crab pots or something there. It's not a bad trailer. Get it down here where I can get it cleaned up and get it down the road and put a for sale sign on it and see what I can do. Well, there's the trailer that we bought down in Oregon, and we got the septic tank in it and a couple of other things on it. We got it, picked it up actually on the way home from the airport. I got Carl and his friend unload the chair out of it. My wife got me a new massage chair, but it's still got the septic tank. It's full of all the stuff we put in it to keep it out of the weather. And I've got a new 24-inch wood planer in there. I've got to find room for that. Plus we had another shipment of stuff that we took to the barge the day before we left. It's a bunch of house wrap as well as some pieces of myrtle wood. We just got notified we can pick it up anytime, so we've got to make room for that too out of the weather. The snow is going pretty good. We've still got a big pile there of all the snow that I pulled off the driveway, but the driveway is all cleared up. Remember when I left it was icy here. And no snow on my piles of lumber, a little bit of snow here and there. But there was no heat in the shop while I was gone, so things got kind of damp in there. I've been getting a fire going in there, trying to get things dried out in that. And I just got notified Friday that my engine for the airplane is going on the assembly line. Maybe 3 weeks or so we'll have it. So I have to get everything ready to get the airplane annualed and ready to put the new engine on it. So I made several trips down to Oregon to my middle son's place on the Oregon coast. And one day we went up and made a trip up to where my mother's family originally homesteaded, up in the Coquille River, a place called Dora, up out of Myrtle Point and Coquille. We're driving around up there looking around, and we come to a place there on the county road up in the Forest Service land where a great big myrtlewood tree had blown down. And they'd cleaned out the road so you could get by, but the tree trunk and stuff was still there. Couldn't do much about it, no way to cut it or anything like that. But I did pick up a few broken branches off of the tree and put them in the car. And then we got one chunk down here that's a pretty good sized chunk. And that was all I could do to pick that thing up to load it in the car. Anyway, we took that to my son's place, left it there for a couple, 3 weeks while we did other things. And then when we came back with the trailer, we loaded that stuff in it. Myrtle wood is kind of an unusual wood. It's kind of a rare wood. It's called a bay myrtle. I don't know what the taxonic name is on it. But there's only 2 places in the world that it grows, and one is on the southwest coast of Oregon, and then I guess in Lebanon. And I've heard somebody say that it grows in New Zealand too, but I haven't got confirmation of that. It's a highly prized wood. So these are not something that I can do a whole lot with. You can do something with those on the wood lathe or something like that, I don't know. But anyway, we've got them here. So now I'll be fumbling around with those for the next 20 years, I suppose, till I figure out what to do with them. So I've got room there for that new planer. I've got to get it in out of the weather someplace, and I can bring it over here and store it in here until we get ready to use it. I'll just have to move that stuff around, reorganize things and reshuffle things, which seems like I constantly do. Anyway, that's the new project. I've got to get that in here out of the weather so we can get that out of the trailer. And then, like I said, I got the new engine They notified me that it was on the table to be built now, so I've got to get ready to put for the engine and start doing the annual and stuff on the airplane. So this is my work side of the shop, so that's all, of course, a mess, so we've got to get it straightened up too. Anyway, get it ready to get some work done in here. I don't have siding on the hangar. I've got my diagonal boards on there for sheathing, and then I had Tyvek up all around it, and we had that one big windstorm last fall and it just shredded it, so there's big gaps in here in the sheathing on the side of the hangar. Air's just flowing through here freely, so I need to do something to get this so we can hold some heat in here while we're working. I couldn't have worked in here at all this winter, as cold as it got. I mean, it got down to 15 below here for a while and hovered around 0 for a long time. It's warmed up now, so it's in the low 40s in the daytime and the low 30s at night, so that's not so bad. But if we can get it blocked so the wind doesn't flow through here like a wind tunnel, then that'll be even better. I worked cleaning this side up for a couple hours yesterday. I started back over there in that far corner around the wood stove. Started out by building a fire in the wood stove there and trying to burn up some of the garbage cardboard and stuff that was around there and some of the old wood. Well, it started smoking the hangar up. Last year I replaced the pipe as it goes horizontally out through the wall on the hangar, and everything else was okay, but the top of that pipe coming up out of the stove going vertically is rotted out near the top where the elbow fits on it. So I stuck it together enough to get the smoke out of here from what fire that I had in there already. And I won't be burning any fires in there until I get that replaced. Not that the stove does much good back there anyway. I thought maybe if I burned up some of that crap that was in there, it'd help kind of dry that corner out a little bit because everything is damp around here. But anyway, I got this cleaned out enough where I can get that planer in here. A friend of ours gave us some house wrap. Got to get that stuff here someplace too. Anyway, I got this set up where I can get it in here. Now what I have to do is take that tarp up, get that tarp undone from the front of the hangar doors here and open this one door. But it's raining out. Of course, it's kind of tempting not to go out there and do anything to get wet. But we'll see what we can get done. Finally got the new planer out of the trailer, put in here in the hangar out of the weather. Took a little bit more than I expected. Run into a little problem. The shifter in the pickup was stuck in park and I couldn't get to move, so I had to work on that for a while and finally got that fixed. And this morning the wind was blowing so much I didn't want to fool with that tarp here over the front of the hangar, so about 1 o'clock or so the wind finally let off. Still pouring down rain, but the wind let off. I got that tarp up and the door opened up and we got the planer unloaded and stuffed in here in the hangar. Had a whole bunch of stuff we bought down south. We had that septic tank there that we brought home with us that I bought down there, and we filled it up with a whole bunch of stuff, and it kept it in nice and dry and in out of the weather. So anyway, we got it unloaded and brought in here. Then we had a couple pallets of stuff shipped down the last day we were in Seattle area. My friend Joe is a builder. Anyway, he wound up with a whole bunch of these packages of, he called it frog skin. It's some kind of a house wrap, and he gave us a bunch of that. Stuff's pretty spendy, so it was free for us, just for shipping. So we got a whole bunch of cartons of that and brought it in here and got it in today too. That was delivered a couple days ago at the barge line, so we went and got it in here out of the way. Got the door all closed back up again and everything buttoned down, and I just got word today that my engine is off the assembly line. It's assembled, so it should be shipping any time now, so it'll be a week or a couple weeks before we have to go through this all again to bring the engine in here. So that's the next project now. I've got to get working on this airplane. Anyway, we're all done with that. Got the door all closed up and everything, and the tarp down. I've still got to put my last strips on it, but I think I'll do that tomorrow. I've gotten wet now, so wet and chilly, so it's time to maybe have a cup of coffee and some soup or something. First day of spring today, and of course we're in the middle of a blizzard. Started snowing last night, and all day today it's been spitting snow anywhere from just light to pretty heavy. It's not accumulating on the ground. The ground's warmed up enough that it's on the roads and stuff that it's not sticking to that, but we got about 2 inches. Forecast was for not to have any accumulation. Pretty good storm, wind's blowing pretty good. The trees around us are singing pretty good, and every once in a while we'll get a gust that goes through. Sounds like we're getting buzzed by a flock of jets. I guess that's to be expected. It's just the middle of March. Been pretty good since we got home. Been fairly warm, low 40s daytime, mid to lower 30s at night, and raining pretty good. The snow is almost all melted off. Still got piles of it here and there where we piled it up, and some places where it was deeper, but for the most part it's gone off the roads and stuff here. I guess there's still pretty good snow out on the outer ends of some of the roads, but around here we haven't had to plow it for a while, so that's good. We've been home about 10 days. I always expect for things to have gone haywire here at home while we're gone. A little bit of trouble with a water pump. The pressure tank in it needed more air in it, get it aired back up again. And couldn't get the stuff unloaded right away, the trailer out right away, because my truck was messed up. Couldn't shift it. Had a leak for quite a while in the truck coming off the power steering, off the brake, and I got investigating it, and I found out that the brake booster in the diesel pickups are operated by the power steering pump. So we got power steering fluid in there, and it leaked all over in the cab of the truck. I haven't had to add much power steering fluid, but still sometimes when you press on the brake pedal it goes all the way to the floor. Doing a little research on that, I found out that the brake light switch does multiple duties. It not only activates the brake lights, but it also has a switch in there for the lockout on the shifter. And if you press too far down on the brake pedal, the switch goes all the way out, then that causes the lock for the shifter to engage, so can't shift it out of park, because on these newer vehicles you have to step on the brake to shift out of park. Well, if that thing goes down all the way, that switch goes out and trips, and then it won't work. So I thought that was the problem. I did a little bit of troubleshooting on that. I pulled that switch out of there, figured out the circuitry in that, bypassed that circuitry, but I still couldn't get it to shift, so I did a little more research. Found out there's a hole in the bottom of the steering column that you can push up on to unlock the shifter in case the truck is completely dead and you need to take it out of gear to have it towed. So I pushed in on that, and of course that didn't work. Did a little more research, and then I found out there's another little lock on there that activates when you turn the key on. When you turn the key off, of course it locks the steering wheel and it locks the shifter. I took the little boot off the shifter where it goes into the column and looked at that, and that wasn't the problem. Finally pulled the panel off underneath the steering column, and there's other problems that people have run into is the cable that runs the shifter gets bad, or it gets froze up down where it shifts on the transmission. And then there's a solenoid on the top of the cable before it gets into the shifter, and that's what is activated by the little switch down there on the floor, or on the brake switch. So I took everything apart, checked it all out. Most of the things were all working. Lubed it up a little bit, pulled the plug on that solenoid, and now the shifter works just fine. But you can shift it even when the engine's not running or without the key on now, just like the old ones did. So I'm not sure that that's a defect. I don't know whether I'm going to fix that or not. I did happen to buy a new switch for the brake switch down there when I bought the new booster for the brake, so I can fix it, but I'm not sure that's a problem now. The other problem we noticed when we come home was that the right front tire on my wife's car was flat. Now, my son said that he had put air in it a couple of times while we were gone, and when I come home I filled it up with air, and it leaked down pretty quick. So my wife come out to take the tire off, check and see where the leak is. It's not unfeasible that we would pick up a screw or a nail around here someplace. So she filled the tire up and then went to back the car up so she could get better access to it to get to that tire. And when she did, the tire blew completely. So she jacked the car up, took the tire off, and to see what was wrong. And anyway, it was pretty well screwed up. I've never quite seen the like of that before. But this shock strut, the spring was sticking out here and poked into the tire, or rubbing on the tire, and when she backed up it just speared that tire and blew it right out. So the spring was broken off. Oh, here's the spring, the portion that was broken off, and there's a plate for it here that it's supposed to rest on, and of course you can see that's unscrewed from that plate and come down on there. Anyway, that was a disaster. That was not something we could just fix by fixing the tire, and of course it ruined that tire. So to get a look at it, to see what was going on, I had her pull the tire off the other side. off the left side. And lo and behold, the left one is the same way. You can see how that spring is down there below the plate that it's supposed to go onto, and it's busted off right there and a real sharp edge. So anyway, it was just a wonder that we didn't take that one out of there too. Who knows what had happened if that had happened when we were on the road someplace or something instead of just sitting here at home. Well, anyway, I've got new shock struts coming for it. They come all complete with the spring and everything, so it's just a matter of unbolting those and sticking the new ones in. Of course, it's never a matter of just unbolting and sticking them in. There's always complications with it, but they should be here in a day or two. They say they're on delivery or out for delivery, but that just means they're in Anchorage. I got word the other day that they had stuck my engine in the assembly line, and then a couple days later I got word that the engine was finished and ready for shipment, and we got word Friday evening or Saturday that it had been shipped and it's on its way. So that's pretty exciting. I've been working in the hangar there getting it